Welcome back everyone, my name is
Zos,
and today, new cam, new merch. Look at this, merch right here from the stream. Go check it out in the link right there and come follow us on twitch.tv/Joss at the link right here in the description. Love you guys very much. So today we're taking a look at the driller. This video is going to be like my other gunner guide build video, which is right here if you're looking for it. And we'll be showcasing what I call the Cryo Vampire driller build. I chose to showcase this build because just like the other gunner build, it is amazing and I personally really love it because it's fun, effective, and you should really try it out. So for the build, you will want to go for the Cryo Canon. On the first row, we are going to take less charge up time. It is a little bit like the minigun. It is a really good quality of life perk that you really want. It'll help you have a better feeling with the gun in general, because the ammo bags, you're not gonna need them per clip. The one clip is fine. And the cold power, same. It freezes already really well with the rest of the build. So go for less charge up time. You'll feel it. It'll definitely be better to shoot faster out of your cryo cannon. 2, you will want to go for max ammo increase, because even with this, you'll want even more ammo. This build is really ammo hungry, so going for more reach isn't really necessary because also it's a melee build, so you won't really be needing it. And as you get good with the build, you won't be needing the pressure rate later on. So maximum ammo is definitely the way to go here. Now on row number 3, I pick the fire rate. The fire rate here is a really good choice, because the freezing power isn't really that necessary since we already have enough of it, and going fire rate will increase your overall DPS because you'll be shooting faster, and so the cryo cannon has a base damage value that you can increase with attack speed, not with freezing power. So that's why I take attack speed on the 3rd row. Row number 4. Do I need to say it? Okay, I'll say it. Ammo. Yes, you're gonna need this one once more, because in here the damage is really unnecessary. You won't be dealing damage with the cryo cannon in the first place, and the freezing power, it's same. You will prefer going ammo than freezing power on this row because we have enough in general, but not ammo. On the last row, it gets a little personal. You could go for shatter. Is that how it's called? Fragile if you wish to. Fragile lets you have a chance of killing enemies when they're frozen by the cryo cannon. This could be good, but I prefer going Radiance, which gives you a sort of freezing aura around you and makes you freeze enemies more, basically, more enemies. And I prefer going for this because with this build what you want to be doing is drilling the most frozen enemies to get more HP out of it, not kill them with the cryo cannon, kill them with melee. So more frozen enemy is more potential health back, rather than more dead enemies, which they will be eventually. So that's why I go with Cold Radiance instead of Fragile. And for the overclock, it is time that you guys know why I place perfectly tuned coolers so high up in my tier list and my top 10s, which are linked right here if you want to check them out. It is because of this build mainly. It has a great freezing power, which is all you need. It is clean and it works perfectly in this build. It rounds up every stat that you need. It gives you the freezing power and the flow rate that we've been avoiding this far. So there you have it. That's about it for the cryo cannon. For your secondary gun, you want to go with the EPC. This gun will be better for damage to frozen and non-frozen target in general, and you'll be way more autonomous with it. I hope that's a word. With this weapon, we'll be running a very classic TCF build, tin containment field. So for the first row, you will want to go with ammo, because you'll be needing a lot of ammo once more in Hazard 5. You kind of see how it's going to go. We have been building a lot of ammo yet so far on the cryo cannon, and it's going to be the same for the EPC. The more ammo you have, the better. You'll be able to be way more autonomous with more ammo, and if you miss some shots, then you still have a bit of backup. Now for row number 2, you will go for the 3rd upgrade. Here what the first upgrade does, it's increasing the area damage of the impact of a charged shot, not the TCF in general. After it has hit a wall, the charged shot emits an AoE that deals increased damage plus the charged shot in itself. So it only increases the AoE of the charged shot shockwave in a way, not the TCF. So it's not going to be very useful for us right here. Then the speed of the bullets kind of throws off the timing of the TCF shots. If you shoot too fast, you're gonna be doing stuff way too early and it's gonna mess up some timing. So you're not really gonna need the shot speed on the TCF for this row. And the last row here is what we're gonna take because this increases the overall damage of the TCF and charge shot in general, which is really good to have when dealing with crowds, and you'll be using that a lot. So go for that upgrade. Row number 3, I go for the charge up time. This is just way better. You can feel way more at ease while charging up shots, and especially in dense situations, you'll be able to charge faster and thus take off the damage really earlier. And this really helps. And even in general, it's just a more fast-paced gameplay for TCF shots for minerals or just for enemies overall. It's a way better upgrade. 4th row, guess what it is? Once again, here it comes. It's ammo. Ta-da! Yay! There you go. Nothing else to say. And now, if you've been following so far, you already know that the last row will be the TCF. Tin Containment... I don't know how this it's called. Tin Containment Field. There you go. That's what will allow you to basically mine minerals on your own and just do bigger AoE damage with the skill necessary to hit a sharp shot with another light shot later on. And for the overclock, we go for Heat Pipe. Heat Pipe helps us gain more ammo by using less per charge shot. It has increased charge speed, so it procs wonderfully with row number 3, and the heat generated isn't that much of a problem because you'll be able to charge a shot and shoot another light one later and still do the TCF and be pretty good on heat. You can even charge another shot. If you really want to feel comfy with this, you could also go for heat reduction on row number 4, and that will fix the problem. You can charge anything and never overheat with it. So there you have it.
Here comes a new challenger!
What? What's this? What? We have a drill build? Whoa! Yes, this is where it's gonna be interesting. On the first row, you want to go with damage, barbed drills. This is the core part of this build. I'll explain later why. And as optimal build, I also go 1-1-1 on the rest, if you want to know all the drill builds. So there you have it. And finally, for the perks, you will want to take, above all, Vampire. There you have it. This is what you're gonna heal off of with your barb drills on the frozen enemies and everything. You're seeing how it's all coming together. Then for the other perks, it's kind of personal. You can go with whatever. I always go with Resupplier and Elemental Insulation, personally, solo or multiplayer. And on active perks, I recommend going Dash and Iron Whale, or Hover Boots if you want to. I specified that in my other video, but you know why we picked this. Really good perks to choose all around. Also, for the grenade mod, you want to take the impact axes because they do melee damage, so you heal off of them. So that's great. And they do tons of melee damage, and even more to a frozen target, and that's where that's gonna come in handy. For example, against oppressors, freeze them, and if you can sneak in 2 impact axes in there, that should kill him, or really close to killing them. So that's the whole situation here. Impact axes, plus they have a stun chance, and just pick that. It'll be more comfortable to deal around all the enemies at the same time. And lastly, the little tip of the little icing on the cake right here is the damage on the pickaxe. So, you know, even if you don't have your impact axes or barb drill, your power attack on the pickaxe will deal massive damage, even more to frozen target. So that's the little chief's choice right here. So for the gameplay, what do you do with all of this? What you want to be doing primarily is freezing enemies with your Cryo Cannon, then healing off of them with your barb drills or any melee thing you can. But your barb drills is your most reliable option because the Cryo Cannon doesn't do that much damage to begin with. It's not a great killing weapon, unlike the Flamer. This is why you want to take barb drills to damage any frozen enemy, and with Vampire to heal off of them. So you'll always be at max HP or close to it. What I really like with this build is the fact that it's completely uncanny and comes out of the box in a way that when you're low on health, usually you want to run away from enemies and heal. But with this build, it's the other way around. You want to go to the enemies, freeze them, and heal off of anything you can. So that's why I love this build and I would recommend anybody trying it. It is really fun and actually viable in higher hazards. For the TCF, what you want to be doing primarily is just mind your own business, mine your own minerals, and kill the big hordes of enemies with a charge shot or a TCF shots for mech terras or goo bombers. That is really effective, and that's the best way to deal with everything. With your melee focused build and short range, flying enemies can be quite a problem. So the TCF with a charge shot are a really good alternative to kill those enemies. Plus, bonus tip, in update 32, which is upcoming, we will be able to kill swarmers just by freezing them. They won't just stay frozen, they'll die from freeze damage automatically. So that's a plus tip that makes you viable with a cryo cannon, and don't need to take the thorns perk for that matter. So keep that in mind. So now for the pros and the cons of this build. First of all, you will have a lot of sustain. Indeed, your health will be always almost full. Plus, this build pairs out super well with Iron Will. You'll be able to res off of your own with Vampire, and not just by a few, by quite a lot. So that's really helpful. You're really autonomous with this build. You can just run around, sustain from just the enemies themselves, resurrect off of your Iron Will with the Vampire, and basically that's it. You can also mine minerals with the TCF on the caves you go for. You don't have to wait for the Engineer and the Scout. So that's really nice. Additionally, it is a super fun build and refreshing build to play. It is viable in Hazard 5, has this really fun touch to it where you really want to go towards the enemies when low, and helps out your team quite as well. Even though it's quite a selfish build with all the autonomy that you can have with it, it is also very helpful for your team. They don't need to mind you, you can deal with every enemy, and with the freezing power that you have, everybody can benefit from it. So that's pretty nice too. For the cons, this build might not be amazing against Dreadnoughts, but that yet again is kind of a class issue, not coming from the build. In general, Driller, except for some builds, isn't the best DPS class against Dreadnoughts, and this build is no exception. But once again, as I said, there are very few exceptional builds that are good versus Dreadnought. The whole class in general does not benefit from it, just like this build. I would consider this build a quite high-end tier build where you kind of need to have a bit of experience with the TCF prior to be able to deal with enemies in the heat of the combat. So it can take a bit of practice to get good with it, but if you're already good with the TCF, then it should be fine. And remember, as always, if there's a problem, always C4 it. That just resolves everything. And lastly, compared to the Gunner Flame build, this build does not work really well in the Glacial straight up. Why? Because the grunts there have a 25% resistance to ice naturally, but just them, not the Ice Praetorians or the Ice Goo Bombers for some reason. So you're totally fine with them. But yeah, you'll be dealing a little bit less freezing power to those enemies. The rest otherwise should be quite fine. Alright, I think that is everything you need to know for this build. Do try it out, I would really recommend it, it is really fun. If you did like it, do leave a like in the video and consider subscribing, that would help out the channel immensely. Also leave a comment if you want to let me know what you thought of this build, if there's something you would change, or if you just enjoyed it. You can also once more go check us out and follow us on the Twitch link provided right here. We are live every weekend and we do some events, subbing events, just a lot of interaction with chat. We have a great growing community there. In the meantime, take care everyone. Bye.